The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 40, Strange Creature. What's going on here? Where did you get this gold from? The guard asks. They're wearing the same armor the knights from the parade wore. He's holding a spear in his hand with the bottom of the shaft resting on the ground. He's looking at Lorik and Elowin suspiciously. The dark blue-haired maid standing nearby approaches him as he looks at Lorik. You may be a princess, but you can't play with gold, Lee. The guard starts before Lorik slams open chest of gold shut. Scram! Lorik says loudly while picking the chest up. Elowin starts giggling while they run away. Stop! The guard shouts before getting ready to run after them. Hold it. The maid tells him while grabbing his shoulder and pulling him to face her. It's fake gold, and they're just playing. Even so. The guard starts before turning to face the direction Lorik and Elowin ran. He doesn't see them. Instead, he sees Cyrilda and the rest of Team 1 watching. He and the maid walks up to them. Did you see where Princess Elowin and the person she was with went? I came to get her since it's time to begin her studies, he asks them. They went in there, Cyrilda says while pointing to the door a few feet away. Snitch! Elowin shouts through the door. The maid walks up and opens the door. Princess, it's time to begin your lessons. We can play again later. The maid says, causing Elowin to pout before sighing. Fine, thanks for playing Lorik, Elowin says before following the maid away. The maid has stored the chest of fake gold in her storage ring before leaving. The guard follows them down the hall. What was that about? Cyrilda asks. I ran into Elowin on my way and gave her the chest of gold. I got it at the stalls yesterday. Anyway, after I gave it to her, she asked to play. Since her maid said she had her lessons soon, I thought, why not? Lorik replies before they make their way back to their meeting room. So why'd you buy her a chest of fake gold? Sarah asks. Well, she called herself the Pirate Queen, right? Pirates love their gold, so when I saw the chest of it, I thought she'd like it. Besides, the merchant wanted to get rid of it since it took up so much space, so I got it for pretty cheap. Lorik replies before turning to Cyrilda. So when are you teleporting me? He asks, causing her to chuckle. They enter the room and sit down as she replies. Are you that excited? I'll be teleporting you after we're done here, she says, causing Rowan and Sarah to both turn to her. Why are you teleporting him? Sarah asks. And where to? Rowan adds. To the forest near the middle area. He'll be spending a month there as part of his training. I'm giving him the same device you two have to contact me during emergencies. So he'll be safe, don't worry. Cyrilda replies, Are you sure it's safe? Sarah asks worriedly. Yeah, he should be able to handle the monsters in the surrounding area. He has a map of the place too, so he'll know where not to go. Cyrilda replies, Is there anything he should be doing? Or is he just supposed to survive? Rowan asks, Just survive. I want him to explore, though. With any luck, he'll find some artifacts or the like. But mainly, I just want him to grow. I'm still not sure how best to train him, as he uses an unknown law. So to be honest, this is a bit of a test run. Cyrilda replies, causing Lorik to chuckle. Anyway, are you ready, Lorik? She asks him after he's finished eating. Yeah, as ready as I'll ever be, Lorik replies. Good luck, Rowan says. Be careful out there, Sarah adds. Come back safe. Also remember, no tasting those spices, Vera says, causing Lorik to laugh. He takes a deep breath before turning to Cyrilda. Before I forget, there's something I need to tell you once I get back, he says, causing her to look at him confused. Why not tell me now? She asks. It's complicated, and I'd rather wait, Lorik replies, causing her to shrug. All right then, don't die and take this, Cyrilda says while tossing him a small cylinder. On top of it is a red button. Press it if you need me to come get you. Be safe, Cyrilda says while creating a dark purple magic circle under Lorik. He disappears from the room as the spell teleports him into the forest. Lorik appears in a clearing along the edge of a river. There was a deer drinking from the water. It runs away when Lorik suddenly appears. Lorik looks around before activating his communications bracelet. He opens up his map before looking for his location. He quickly finds it and looks around. There are a few monsters and a dungeon nearby. I'll hunt the monsters down later if I get the chance. But for now, let's look for somewhere to set up camp, Lorik says aloud before scanning the map. A few minutes later, he lowers his arm and starts walking. So the map was a bust. It doesn't tell me about any places for camping. but I saw a few places to check out. Hopefully, I'll find a cave at one. Lorik thinks while walking. Magic circles appear in his eyes as he casts Hunter's vision. He walks along the riverbank for a while before stopping. The river leads to a waterfall, which he saw on the map. The other side of the river is a giant cliff wall. He planned to take a path leading away from the river here, but now he sees a cave further down the river. The entrance is small, only a bit bigger than Lorik himself. Lorik walks across the river before looking into the cave. He can't see any aura through the stone, so he enters. What Lorik didn't see as he was focused on looking for aura was a carving above the entrance of the cave. It's been eroded with time, but it's still clear what it was supposed to be. It's a wolf baring its fangs. The wolf is gazing into the distance at an unseen predator. The wolf's head is injured, though that could have just been from its erosion. Lorik takes a lantern out of his storage ring and attaches it to his belt. Even if his spell lets him see through a wall, it doesn't let him see in the dark. He continues walking through the cave tunnel for a minute. The tunnel doesn't grow any bigger, but it doesn't shrink either. If it did, Lorik wouldn't be able to fit. At the end of the cave tunnel, Lorik finds himself in the cavern. In the center of the cavern is a small, gray, furry creature. It's curled up in a ball, lying on the ground. Lorik walks up to it before stopping a few feet away. I can't see its aura. Does that mean it's dead? No, if it's still a baby, it won't give off much aura, so I might not be able to see it over its body. A baby? Should I make it my familiar? But I don't even know what it is. Lorik thinks while sitting next to it. The creature moves as he does so. Its tail, which was covering its head, shook before lifting off its head. The creature's tail is a foot long, just as long as its body. It has 4 legs, all with paws revealing sharp claws. Its body is slender and covered in silverish gray fur. It opens its eyes, reading dark amber pupils. The creature shivers before letting out a soft whine. It wraps its tail back around its head and curls up tighter. Without thinking, Lorik reaches out and scoops up the creature in his arms. Are you cold? He says while holding the creature tightly in his arms. Soul power flows out of his arms into the creature. By the time he realizes what's happening, it's too late. The creature lights up with a faint blue light. Suddenly, a single word appears in his thoughts, overpowering any other thought he had. Name? What do I name you? He says aloud while panicking. Lorik takes a deep breath before looking at the creature in his arms. He's able to see its head and sees its mouth slightly open. It has fangs for teeth, and a name suddenly appears in his thoughts. Nixfang, your name is Nixfang. He says quietly before both he and the creature in his arms light up in a bright blue light. The light bursts, filling the cavern with bright blue light before fading. Warm, Lorik hears in his head. The voice he hears isn't his, and he jumps up. The creature in his arms nuzzles closer to his chest as he does. Warm, it repeats as he looks down at it. Is that you? Lorik asks, but the voice doesn't respond. Nixfang is fast asleep in his arms. Master did say that you'd be able to communicate in ways previously impossible. I guess that includes thoughts? Either way, I'm happy. Nixfang looks like some kind of wolf, though I've never heard of one with a tail as long as its body. But I guess it could be a variant? Or maybe I've just never heard of it. It doesn't matter either way. Hang on, Nix means night. Why did I decide to give them a name related to night? Also, why did I make them my familiar? I didn't even know I was doing it until I had to name them. I'll have to ask Master when I get back. Maybe baby monsters just suck soul power out of whoever touches them. But then, why did I grab them in the first place? Lorik thinks before groaning. He walks back to the entrance of the cave, ready to leave his thoughts behind. Hungry. He hears the same voice in his head. He looks down at Nixfang in his arms. Nixfang is looking up at him, still lying in his arms, only lifting its head. I assume you eat meat. Will any meat do? I passed some goblins a bit ago. Lorik asks, and Nixfang just stares at him. I guess we'll find out. He says before leaving the cave. Nixfang stays in his arms as he leaves the cave and crosses the river. He walks back the way he came for a few minutes. Suddenly, he walks away from the riverbank into the trees. Lorik stops before setting Nixfang on the ground. It looks at him curiously before 2 magic circles appear on Lorik's elbows. His beast paws appear along his arms, and he runs through the bushes. On the other side are 3 goblins. They were sitting on the ground with crude wooden clubs lazily resting in their hands. Lorik slams his fists down on 2 of their heads, crushing them and spewing blood all over the ground. The third jumps up and raises its club. Lorik blocks it with his arm, his spell absorbing the impact. He slams his other fist into its chest, crushing its guts and killing it. He turns to where Nixfang is and sees them running out of the bushes. They start feasting on the goblin. I wonder, are you a boy or a girl? Lorik thinks while sitting down against a nearby tree. Girl. The voice responds, causing him to smile. So you are Nixfang. He thinks as she continues eating. He sits and waits for a few minutes as Nixfang eats the first goblin down to the bone. She then moves on to the second imminently. She only gets through half of it before stopping, full. Nixfang says straight in Lorik's head. Good, then let's get going, Lorik says while standing up. Nixfang jumps up and uses her claws to climb up his clothes. She lies across his shoulders, draping her tail and front paws over them. Lorik reaches up and pets her while walking. Instead of returning to the cave, Lorik walks down his original path away from the river. Cave? Nixfang asks. We're not returning to the cave. It only has the one narrow entrance. If a group of goblins or wolves tracks me down inside, I'll get trapped. I want to find somewhere else to set up camp. I also don't think I could light a fire in that cave. The tunnel's too low to let the smoke out, so I'd choke. Lorik replies, causing Nixfang to look at him confused. It's too dangerous, he says simply. Nixfang lowers her head and closes her eyes. He's unsure if she understood this time or not, though. After walking for an hour, Nixfang gets hungry again. Lorik hunts a nearby deer this time. He snuck up on it by erasing his breath like with the boar. After Nixfang devours half of it, she gets full. Lorik stores it in his ring for later before continuing.